Every issue that is used as a big wedge issue in these elections is always something that's, harmless either way to corporate America. So it doesn't matter who wins that culture war, because whether we march trans people into the sea or crown them the queens and kings of our society, it doesn't matter to Microsoft's stock. It doesn't matter to IBM stock. It doesn't matter to Lockheed Martin stock. It doesn't matter to any fucking Wall Street firm. It doesn't matter to any big bank. They don't give a shit about that. That's just the lives of the peasants, and that's to be toyed with as they please.
The culture war is just a distraction, right? At least that is what many online leftists want you to believe. They argue that we should ignore debates about identity, culture, and morality because the real problems are economic issues. That so called elites are creating cultural animosity between regular folks to divide and conquer.
So they could use that against the left. Why? Because of the same reason that the establishment Democrats do identity politics, because they don't want to talk about the economic issues. Because on the economic issues, we're all united against them. So they have to divide us. And so I would ask my right-wing brothers and sisters, stop falling for the trick.
Is that true? Are social issues just fluff? And why do so many online leftists believe so? Let's talk about it. First, let's define the term. The culture war refers to ongoing clash of values, beliefs, and identities within a society, typically centered around issues of morality, religion, politics, and social norms. In other words, social issues. Civil rights, gender roles, abortion rights, freedom of speech, gun rights, education, immigration. These are just a few examples. They're about values, fairness, and the kind of world we want to create. They are the foundation of how societies function. Left wing populists often frame the dichotomy of social issues and economic issues as a zero sum game. They say, forget identity politics, we need to focus on jobs and the economy. But here's the thing, social issues and economic issues are not separate, they're deeply intertwined. Immigration is probably the best example. The immigration debate has both a social and an economic aspect. For a deeper dive, please go watch my breakdown of the Elon versus MAGA infight. Social issues matter both electorally and practically. In the 2024 election, although inflation was probably the number one issue, trans women in female sports were also massively important on the campaign trail. The Trump campaign spent millions of dollars advertising on this very issue, and it worked.
Exchanges for prisoners and illegal aliens.
Every transgender inmate would have access.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Practically, there is even less of a debate. Just think about it. Abolition of slavery, women's suffrage, the civil rights movement, these were all social issues. Were they distractions? You decide. If we want a better world, you can't just focus on one type of problem. We have to address economic, political, and social challenges together. So, why do so many populists downplay social issues? There are a few reasons. First, it is a way to oversimplify complex problems. If you focus solely on jobs or corruption, you can avoid messy debates about identity and morality. Second, strategic reasons. It is indeed strategically sound to rally broad support without alienating, if we put it nicely, or triggering, if we keep it real, certain groups. By ignoring social issues, populists avoid taking a stand that may divide their base. Lastly, and most importantly, leftists simply fail to understand conservatives. They fail to appreciate the fact that social issues reflect fundamental differences in our moral systems. Although the topic of this video is about leftists who believe social issues are just a distraction, other leftists who do not buy into this narrative make the other mistakes of just calling conservatives evil. Jonathan Haidt's book, The Righteous Mind, lays it out quite perfectly. Haidt introduced the moral foundations theory, which identifies 6 key moral dimensions: care harm, fairness cheating, loyalty betrayal, authority subversion, sanctity degradation, and liberty oppression. Progressives solely rely on care harm, fairness cheating, and liberty oppression to make moral judgments, with a heavy emphasis on care harm. Conservatives, on the other hand, consider all 6. This is why progressives don't understand conservatives nearly as well as the other way around. This is also why the social issues as a distraction narrative is only prevalent among progressive populists, not conservative ones. Because in their minds, conservatives only oppose progressive social policies because they are somehow manipulated by the elites. Even prominent thinkers make this mistake too. Think about Francis Fukuyama, the author of The End of History and The Last Man. He argued that with the Cold War's conclusion, humanity has reached, quote unquote, the end of history in the sense of ideological evolution. Liberal democracy, combined with market capitalism, emerges as the ultimate and the most stable form of government. Such thinking led up to the beliefs that nations like China and Russia would liberalize as they industrialize and become part of the global market. Or think about Thomas Frank, the author of What's the Matter with Kansas? Perhaps the best embodiment of the social issues as a distraction narrative. He argues that many working class voters in Kansas have been persuaded and manipulated by Republican Party's quote unquote Southern strategy to prioritize cultural issues like abortion, gun rights, and same sex marriage over economic interests that would seem to align with progressive policies. As a liberal and a social progressive myself, I find this kind of thinking quite condescending. Western progressives might just be too insulated from the rest of the world. In China, where I came from, you can find self proclaimed Marxists who believe that the Holocaust was a Jewish conspiracy. The idea that every human being in the world ultimately wants to live like a lesbian girl in UCLA who smokes pot all day and listens to Taylor Swift and Beyonce is nothing but a fantasy. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you disagree, let me know in the comment section. I'll see you next time.